Welcome back, guys, to another video. In today's video, we will be going over 2 tips on how to improve your credit score right now for free. Yes, for free. And we'll be also going over an extensive analysis on how to effectively improve your credit score if you are in the doo-doo and you have a really bad credit score and you don't know which direction to go. So it doesn't matter if you're a new person who's trying to build credit, or if you've had credit history but now are in trouble, this video will cover it all. Now, if you're want to be very efficient and you want to skip or cut to the chase, if you go down in the description, you can see time cards that'll tell you at what timestamp I talk about what subject. So let's get right to the board. First, I'm going to go over what really impacts your credit score to give us a basic understanding on how we can attack on improving your credit. So there are 4 primary things that impact your credit score. The number one thing that impacts it highly is payment history. So if you have late payments or you're not making your payments, that drastically can impact your credit score negatively. So that's something that you should definitely focus on and not have late payments. Now, another interesting fact to know here is the more recent the late payments are, the worse your credit score is. So though the recent payments impact your credit score highly. The older payments also impact it, but the ones that are most recent impact. And I'm gonna go over how to address these issues as we progress in this video. But for now, payment history impacts your credit very, very deeply. Number 2, you have outstanding balances, also known as credit utilization. You must have heard that term. So for example, if you have, let's just say you have a bunch of credit cards and your total credit limit is $5,000 with 2-3 different credit cards. We can even take an example for one credit card. And you've maxed that credit card out and say it's 5,000 is your credit line, and now you have no borrowing balance. Your credit is 5,000 and you're carrying that credit balance on every month. Now you have a credit utilization of 100%, which will really drastically bring your credit score down. So if you are in a lot of trouble or you don't have enough cash flow to pay all of it down, it's advisable to start paying down, say 70% of it. Start at 70, then 50, then 30. Obviously the goal is to have all of your credit lines paid down to 0, which will bring your credit score up a lot, because then now the credit bureaus can see that your credit utilization is 0% or close to that mark. Number 3 is lengths of credit. Now these 2 don't impact your credit score as much as the first 2 that I just went over, but these ones still need to be addressed because they have a percentage that they impact your credit score. So lengths of credit is the time of credit the time you have had a credit card. So for example, if you got a Chase Bank credit card in 5 years ago, it's advised that you don't close that credit card, even though if you're not using it. Don't close it, because if you close it, then it's wiped out and you no longer have that credit card being able to add on to the length of your credit history. Now if your credit card is charging you, like there's credit cards that charge you an annual fee, that's something you may want to consider and talk to the creditor, but I would not advise you close that credit account, because if you've had it for so many years, it will impact your credit score positively if you leave it on your credit. Number 4, getting new credit. Now this can heavily impact your credit score if you are searching for getting different types of credit. For example, you're looking for a new car. Then you're also looking for a new mortgage, you're looking for a new credit card. If you're searching for one type of credit and you're rate shopping, that will not negatively impact your credit. Say for example, if you're trying to get a mortgage and you're talking to 3 or 4 different lenders, and those 3-4 different lenders are pulling your credit report, the credit bureaus know that you're shopping for one type of credit. That won't impact your credit negatively. But if you're shopping for different sorts of credits, that will impact your credit negatively. So it's always a good practice to go slowly as you build your credit and not get all different types of credits at once. Now, down to the nitty-gritty of things. As promised, these are the 2 tips that you can do right now to improve your credit. Number 1, work on your recent collections or late payments. Get those sorted out now, and then focus on the older credit lines that are in collections in your account, because like I mentioned earlier, the recent ones that are late are going to impact your credit more negatively as opposed to the older ones. Now, when you have a late derogatory collections account, they will usually stay on your credit report for 7 years. So the more later the derogatory credit is, the better, because the recent ones impact it. And another thing to remember is, if you say pay a collection account, it's not always true that the creditor will take their negative derogatory off of your credit. So you want to make sure you get it in writing from them that if you pay that collection account, that they're going to remove it from your credit report. Because if you're just going to pay it and they're not removing it, then you're not being effective, because you can use that money to pay off other derogatory terms to other creditors that are going to help you right away and remove those negative credit lines that are on your credit. So that's something that you really want to focus on, and not just pay any creditor out there thinking that it's going to improve your credit. Number 2, rapid rescore. Now, this is like a cheat sheet. So if you're looking to get a mortgage loan and you're rate shopping, work with a loan officer. Not all loan officers or all lending companies are going to provide this, but most of them do. You can ask your loan officer that, hey, I want to get qualified. Here's my information. Here's my loan application. Could you please pull my credit and give me a rapid rescore report? What the rapid rescore report tells you, it exactly tells you down to the wire how much you should. So for example, you have 3 credit cards, 1 car loan, and some other stuff, right? It'll exactly tell you, like, pay down this credit line by $2,000, pay down this one by $500, pay down this one by $1,000, and it'll give you a score on top that'll tell you if you do these things in a couple of weeks or about a month, when we re-pull your credit score, it will allow your credit score to jump like 30 points or 50 points. And sometimes they can do this rapid rescore right away. So if you do those things within a couple of days, you can increase your credit score right away. And that might be a night and day difference for some people, especially when the rates are up right now. If you say, for example, you're at a 650, you do the rapid rescore and your credit score jumps to a 700, you could be saving 0.5% or a quarter point, or even a lot of money on points. So get that rapid rescore, talk to your loan officer, because this will be really, really helpful. And not only that, they'll give you that credit report for free, so you have that extensive report right in front of you. And the tips that we're going to go over, you'll be able to do them yourself. So it's very, very helpful to talk to a loan officer and get that rapid rescore. Now, say for example, you have been doing these things that I've mentioned, you're not late anymore, but your credit score just doesn't seem to get better. It's very low, and you've been trying for a couple of months or years and nothing's happening. Well, now we can do some more extensive things on your credit report that will definitely help your credit score to go up, but it will take some effort on your part to do these things and then go that direction. That's why it's really important to have your credit report in front of you, to just get an idea of where you are as far as the credit score goes and what types of derogatory accounts or negative accounts are on your credit. So let's get to the board. So dealing with disputes. So you can write a written letter to a company that, for example, you had a late payment in some time, and then you didn't make the payment, but you feel like it's not true. It was put on your credit, but it should not be put on there. You can formally write a letter to, say, for example, that company, may that be like Best Buy or Macy's, and you can write them a letter, and it's that creditor or that company is supposed to reply to you within 30 days. And if they don't reply to you in 30 days, they are supposed to, or they have to, not supposed to, they have to remove that from your credit report. So you can sit down and look at your report and start writing these letters for accounts that you believe should be in dispute and you should not be liable for paying these, and see what happens. And a lot of cases, those companies may not respond to you, and in that case, that should be removed from your credit, and that will increase your credit to go higher. Now, the second thing is Goodwill Letters. So say, for example, you were late for your Honda car loan for a couple of months, and then you got on track, and now it's been 3 years or 2 years. You can write a Goodwill letter to that company and say, hey, I've been making the payment for the last 12 months, 2 years. I'm trying to get a loan for my house, and this is impacting my credit negatively. Could you please remove this from my credit report. Now, it's not certain that they'll do that, but it won't harm you. In a lot of cases, that company will remove that negative remark off of your credit, and again, enhancing your credit and making it better. Number three, we talked about this a little bit. If you're paying collections from this year or last year, even some older collections, make sure you get it in writing from that company that they are going to remove that collections account from your credit report. If they don't remove it and you pay it, it's not really helping you. You can be utilizing that money to pay another account if you have another collections account instead of paying that one. Like I mentioned, that these things right here require a lot of work, and you might just be busy or not up to writing letters to each creditor if you have a lot of messy things going on your credit report. That's where companies like creditrepair.com, Credit Karma, and many more companies out there that come in handy where they'll do this work for you. Now remember, I am not endorsed by any of these companies. I've used some of these companies, but I'm not going to say which one to pick. You should do your research on that, and these companies will definitely help you on this side of a more of an extensive kind of cleanup for your credit report. But now that you know what these companies do and what you want them to do, you can definitely demand better results because you know what exactly needs to be done. So if this is something that you can't handle, I would highly recommend hiring a company, but having that dialogue with them, not just going online and signing up, talking to a representative, telling them exactly that you know what's wrong with your credit, here's what your credit looks like, here's where you want to be, and you're, asking them like how many months is it going to take? What are they exactly going to do? Are they going to write the Goodwill letters for you? Are they going to dispute accounts for you? Are they going to help you pay off collections? And in how many months can they get your credit score up? So those companies are not a bad idea. I know a lot of people have had a bad experience with some of them, and I'm not going to talk about that right now. But the main thing is, if you know what you're working with and if you understand how credit works, then you can have that dialogue, and it can be very, very impactful once you hire a company to help you do more extensive work on your credit. Now, if you are a person that is new, either has moved here or you are turning 17 or 18 and you haven't really had any credit lines or credit cards on your credit, you're trying to build your credit, and say you're going to credit companies, or you're going to, not credit companies, but say you're going to Wells Fargo or Chase Bank or other credit card companies, and they're not giving you a credit card and they're denying you, a great way to start is get a secured credit card, which pretty much is like you're going to put in your money yourself and then you're going to use that money. That's pretty much what a secured credit card is. So starting off small, maybe getting a secured card and put $1,000 in there or $500 in there, and then using that credit line all the way and then paying it back. Make sure you remember that credit utilization that we talked about earlier. You're using it and then paying it that same month, and not having, not maxing out your credit. And then try to get multiple of these secured cards, get 3-4 of them, and allow that to build your score. And you'll see in a couple of months, when you go again to apply for a credit card online or go into a bank, you will get approved. So that's an effective way, a quick way, a good way for someone that's trying to build credit and they don't have any credit right now. Fun fact, if you have foreclosure on your credit report, say you foreclosed a property a couple of years back, the foreclosure impacts your credit negatively for up to 3 years. After that point, it does not. So you have the ability to bring your credit back up to where it was. Now, to summarize, I'm only gonna say 3 things. Do not have any late payments. If you are someone that forgets to pay the bill on time, I'm guilty. Make sure you set up auto payments for accounts so you don't get any late payments. Number 2, remember what we talked about earlier, credit utilization. If you have, say, a credit card that has $5,000 spend limit on that, make sure you're spending it, and whatever you're spending, you're paying it back. Otherwise, do not go over your spending power, where you know you're not gonna be able to pay that credit line off, and you're carrying a balance for months, because that will drastically lower your credit score. And number 3, if you have a credit card that you're not using, don't just close that card, especially if you've had it for a couple of years, because having credit lines on your credit for a certain amount of time reflects positively and increases and gives you a healthier credit score. I hope this video was insightful to you. If you've liked what we talked about today or have questions, please comment below. Or if you feel like something I didn't cover today and you want to share with me, also comment below. Hit that subscribe button, follow us on our channel, and we'll be here bringing you more tips on real estate, lending, and the economy. Thank you. Once again, this is Karan saying with Optimal Homes.